Welcome back to the channel, everybody. It's nice to see y'all again. This is going to be a video on why being king sucks. I get a ton of questions all the time on how to do leadership stuff, what it means to be king, how can you become king, how to be better at leadership. And at the end of the day, I was king of 2500 for the better part of 2 years, probably like a year and a half, year and 3/4, something like that. And I will tell you, being king sucked. Being king was terrible for many reasons. I will tell y'all the things that you should be thinking of, what was difficult, why it was difficult, but I will tell y'all that it was definitely not a walk in the park. And if I had the option to do it again, I would not do it again. I would not want to be king. I would not want to be leadership. It was one of the most burning out experiences ever. But without further ado, let's go into it. First off, ask yourself, why do you want to be king? When it comes to conquering the ziggurat and the reasons on why you'd want to lead your kingdom, one of the biggest reasons for me personally was because obviously Rise Kingdom is my job. I needed a kingdom that was going to be stable. I needed a kingdom that had good goals, had a good cabinet that I could make sure was succeeding. I'm an excellent player in many ways, and so I figured, hey, I know what I'm doing. I need agency in this kingdom. I'll just be on top and I'll call it a day. For some people have a whole bunch of friends and they want them and their friends to have the most fun humanly possible, and for that congruence they will become king and they will adopt some extra responsibilities. That's generally a pretty good reason to do it. Some reasons that I see are people just want to be king just to be king. They want that power, they want that leverage. Those kingdoms die quickly. Okay, if you do not have experience being king, eventually you will have to put on your pants one leg at a time, but you're gonna want to find experience, whether that be in a jumper group as an R4 all throughout KVK1. Maybe you're gonna want to play all the way until Season of Conquest and then lead in a Season of Conquest Kingdom a little bit. Getting experience and wanting to lead people because you enjoy leading is a lot different than wanting to lead because you feel the need to. And also, another thing I might add is, like, generally people who enjoy leading might find themselves to be worse kings than people who feel the responsibility to, because they have like a friend group and they just want everything to work out. I really didn't want to be king. I was a pretty decent king. I was not perfect, of course. It was my first time being king of a kingdom and I was just kind of thrown into it because the cabinet kind of collapsed around me and I had to make it happen because it was my job. Another thing that I'll say is, in starting to be king, starting from a jumper group or a sleeper group, making that project is not a bad idea overall, because if you start as a jumper, you're going to have a better idea of how many players you're going to be able to put in leadership, how many players you're going to be overall, what kind of kingdom you're going to be, what kind of kingdom seed you're going to be. Being able to start from some kind of jumper project or a sleeper project and then being able to tell everybody like their expectations and what you see for each player, what you see for the kingdom ahead of time without having any conflicts is really important. This takes a lot of the headache out of it. When you start bringing like a lot of like natives, or you start dealing with a lot of natives in these new kingdoms, that is when civil wars happen and that is when conflicts of interest start to happen. So the earlier you work on your jumper or sleeper, the better it'll be for when you're king. Another thing I'll add is going to be Discord infrastructure. You're going to have to make a good Discord. Some people have their Discords professionally made. Some people have like coders that make Discord bots that are very good at managing the different roles in the different games or the different like alliance VCs. All of these things are going to have to be built and they're going to have to be clean and organized. There's going to have to be a lot of guides for your kingdom. There's going to have to be like ways to mass ping. There's just going to have to be a lot of Discord infrastructure that you end up setting up. This is crucial for a kingdom. So either you as king or somebody that you appoint that you really trust that's going to be running admin on this server is going to have to do it for you. If you can't do this, you're almost certainly not going to be able to run this kingdom. Next is going to be referring to control of your own account. When it comes to the agency that you have in growing your account and making sure that you're high power and making sure that you have a lot of kills, making sure that you participate in events, all of that stuff is kind of thrown out the window. When it comes to your account, unless you have like people that you can switch off king with, you are going to be the first one to set up all your meetings. You're gonna be the first one there and you're going to be the last one that leaves after you implement everything that is important. You're going to be the shot caller when it comes to Diplo. You're gonna be the shot caller when it comes to MGE. You're gonna be the shot caller when it comes to everything. You're gonna be appointing people. You're gonna be taking people down, because these kingdoms, they might have a council, but at the end of the day, it's a dictatorship. You're going to have one person that is making these really big decisions. One person that's going to take all the responsibilities when things happen and they succeed, and especially when things fail. Man, things failed all the time in 2500. We had a lot of successes, right? We won a couple KVKs, KVK2 we're an imp, we had great migrations, yada yada, we had all this good stuff. However, when somebody on my cabinet kind of went crazy and we had like a group of migrants that had to leave, we had like a bunch of like very high tension, almost civil warring type of situations situations. All of these failures, boys, all of these failures rested on my shoulders. As the person who made the decisions to go in or pull out, I would have to rest on every success and every failure. And again, if you're a brand new player coming into the kingship or trying to make your own kingdom, you're going to have zero reputation. If you're watching this video and you've never been king before, you will have no rep. Generally, people that have a better reputation are people that start in older kingdoms, older Season of Conquest kingdoms, and they come back and they restart with a very, very ironed out plan in mind. If you're a brand new player, you're not going to have any reputation. You're probably going to try to be king for the first time. That's probably going to explode, and then you're going to have to run it a second time. So just remember, first time is definitely not the charm when it comes to leading a kingdom or running a jumper group or anything like that, and your reputation is going to be absolutely crucial to how you're going to end up in a high position with people following you. On more of a plus side, I will say the independence from being a king is a really, really good idea, right? Having agency and whether your kingdom is going to do this or this or that, whether they're going to betray or stand true, whether they're going to be fighting hard or pulling back, all of these things you're going to have a huge amount of say in, and that independence is crucial. That independence is really important to keeping the game fresh and entertaining and successful for you. However, with these situations where you have all this independence, you're also going to have to be releasing rewards to different people. That could be rigged MGEs, like the Mightiest Governor event we have right here. You're going to have to decide, is this going to be going to our fighters? Is this going to be going to our garrison members? Are we going to be doing deaths and kill participation? Is this going to be completely handled just by the MGE committee? Or is the king going to decide himself? Is the king going to give himself all the MGEs? Everybody is going to be unhappy regardless of how you give these MGEs out. Every single time, it's not even close. But you're going to have to be the bad guy all the time. Releasing rewards when it comes to like autar testimonies, or when it comes to giving out, you know, who's going to be in an alliance for like building rewards or stuff like that. There's going to be a ton of times where you're the bad guy, but more so than anything, when it comes to giving out MGE rewards, you are immediately the bad guy. Something that I like to do personally is if I'm running a kingdom, I like to have my own MGE committee. I like to have like, you know, like a whale on there at least, like a fighter on there at least, maybe like a regular guy in there as well, you know, somebody who's just adept at running council stuff. And I like having them talk about like how they would like to see the MGE dispersed, right? Because then we have voices from everywhere, which we consider, right? But at the end of the day, the king is going to be making the final decisions. It's just going to be the same thing with releasing rewards. Having a rewards committee is a really good idea. And needing a successful cabinet is just really tough overall, because if you start out as a jumper, or however you start in a jumper community or a sleeper community, people lie about their credentials all the time. It is absolutely abhorrent how much people cap. Sometimes, like, I remember one time I hopped in a jumper group, and this jumper group wanted to be the next big thing. They wanted to be it. And honestly, they could be making it right now, but I remember I hopped in their voice chat to kind of see what was going on. And I said, hey, who has prior experience being king, right? And the whole chat was silent. And I was like, who has experience in leadership in a Season of Conquest kingdom? And everything but one person was silent. Keep in mind, you need past experience. You need it for reputation. You need it for experience on what not to do. When it comes to taking responsibility for failures and successes, like having experience doing that all is really important. And building your own successful cabinet is difficult if you don't even have the expertise to do it yourself. You're going to be on the police force, and you're going to be on the Diplo team, and you're going to be on the MGE team, and you're going to be on the buffs team, and you're going to be on the territory team. Not only do you need a cabinet of just like basic players that can do that, you need a secondary person for when the first person burns out, or their arm explodes, or they move out of country, or whatever it needs to happen to them, whatever is going to happen to them that is really rough for you. You're going to have to make sure you have a backup for a lot of these roles, especially when it comes to like somebody managing the Discord and somebody managing the stats. You need to have a backup, and that is not always easy. There are plenty of unforeseen consequences. People's parents die, there are natural disasters, people don't have Wi-Fi, like sometimes like power just goes out depending on where they're at. Be very aware that very often no plan will survive first contact. Everything will explode around you all the time, and you are king, so even the things that you couldn't control, you are now responsible for controlling, because if it fails, it's all your fault. Having like project managers and people who plan for the long haul, and people that you see that are going to be there for like maybe multiple years, are absolutely crucial, because then they will end up hiring people to help them with their jobs, right? If you put somebody on a Ark of Osiris and he's like a good project manager, and he's been there since you're a jumper, that Ark of Osiris guy is going to make his own little Ark of Osiris team, and they're all going to be hosting different Ark of Osirises. They're all going to be shot calling different things, right? They may not be the best players on the planet, but they have a lot of extra time, and that is really, really important. It is important when it comes to making making people happy. Making people happy is probably gonna be one of the most stressful things, and one of the most sucky parts about being king is going to be trying to make your project managers happy, trying to make your cabinet happy, trying to make your fighters happy, trying to make your whales happy, trying to make your average players happy as well, because your average players, especially the guys that are outside of the top 300, are going to be financing a lot, right? These guys are going to generally be gathering a lot of resources. They might give out some resources here and there. They might be killing a lot of T4. They might be training for like pre-KVK. Like, these smaller players are important, but the whales and the fighters are obviously going to take priority. And a lot of whales, especially early game, just truly do not know what's going on at all. They have no context on how to play the game. None. So in trying to make them happy, you might piss off a lot of other people, but at the end of the day, the average competitive player might want 3 to 6 GC a day, right? If you kick out a whale, you may not get that. Other people might leave, and kind of it is what it is. Like, how are you going to fix that, right? And they don't care. They don't care, so you're going to have to learn to do it. Next, I would say poisonous players are probably like last on this list and the most important thing to look out for. There are plenty of predators on Rise of Kingdoms. Absolutely insane. There are people who are sexist. There are people who are racist. There are people that make the experience worse for other people. These players need to be excised immediately. It doesn't matter if they're whales. It doesn't matter what size they are. It doesn't matter about a lot of things that's going on. If people are being like racist or sexist or otherizing towards people that you need side by side to play with you, you have to get them out with the quickness. It's not even close. And this is so stressful. This is very candidly, this is what destroyed my kingdom. It was because I kicked out somebody, frankly, I couldn't kick out, but I had to because of the stuff he was doing. And it was a huge L for me. Just like most days in being king. Being king was an absolutely stressful thing. I hope the things on this list could probably help y'all in terms of food for thought, in terms of what to look for when you do become king, or hopefully I've dissuaded some of you guys from becoming king. If you guys enjoyed content like this, please drop a like, a follow, consider subscribing. If you guys want to help support the channel financially, you guys can always donate to the Streamlabs link in the description below. Hitting that notification bell, guys. If you guys are looking for on-stream or off-stream coaching, on-stream is 35 bucks a session, off-stream is 75 bucks a session. Y'all go to the Discord in the description below and y'all make a ticket and then I can get to y'all ASAP. But of course, guys, thank you so much for showing up. I really appreciate y'all a ton, and I hope this video was very helpful in dissuading some of you from wasting your Rise of Kingdom experience and immediately burning out.